Very much, Program Director, President Sanchez, and the Secretary General of the United Nations, who have just left, distinguished delegates. Attracting private investment in developing countries remains a significant challenge due to a range of structural and systematic issues. One of the foremost barriers is political volatility. Addressing this requires a concerted effort to build institutional capacity, ensure greater policy coherence, and establish independent regulatory authorities supported by robust investment protection laws. Another critical challenge is macroeconomic fragility, characterized by high inflation, currency instability, and unsustainable debt burdens. These conditions limit government ability to offer the kinds of incentives or guarantees that could help attract private investment. Restoring macroeconomic stability through prudent fiscal and monetary policy is essential. In addition, improving debt management and collaboration with development finance institutions, the DFIs, to share risk and provide guarantees can significantly enhance investor confidence. In many developing economies, underdeveloped financial markets pose another significant obstacle. The scarcity of long-term local financing, limited risk mitigation instruments, and high borrowing costs constrain both domestic and foreign investment. Expanding and deepening local capital markets through regulatory reforms and infrastructure improvements is essential. Governments and development institutions should also promote financial inclusion, foster fintech innovation, and support instruments like blended finance and credit enhancements to make financing more accessible and affordable. Persistent infrastructure gaps and operational inefficiencies present additional deterrents. Inadequate transport, energy, water, and digital infrastructure increase operational costs and reduce the profitability of investments. Addressing these challenges requires strategic infrastructure planning informed by private sector insights, as well as the use of private-public partnerships and concessions models to mobilize private capital. The development of credible project pipelines supported by feasibility studies and technical assistance is equally critical to ensure readiness and bankability. The scarcity of investment-ready opportunities is a recurring issue. Many projects fall short due to weak design, unclear commercial models, or lack of detailed feasibility assessments. Limited government capacity to structure PPEs or leverage blended finance mechanisms further constrains progress. Building technical capacity within the public sector, establishing dedicated project preparation facilities, and utilizing blended finance tools can significantly improve the quality and attractiveness of investment opportunities. Distinguished participants, to foster greater private investment for sustainable development, governments and development institutions must focus on improving governance and regulatory certainty. This includes simplifying investment-related regulations, minimizing bureaucratic obstacles, and ensuring long-term policy consistency to enhance investor confidence. Alongside this, strengthening legal and institutional frameworks is essential to protecting property rights, ensuring contract enforcement, and establishing transparent, predictable dispute resolution mechanisms. Further, national sustainable finance strategies should be developed and implemented to align financial flows with environmental, social, governance criteria and the sustainability development goals. These strategies can be reinforced by promoting robust sustainable finance taxonomies and disclosure standards that clearly define what constitutes a sustainable investment, thereby enhancing transparency, comparability, and credibility in the market. At the same time, building the capacity of private sector actors to measure and report on development impact is crucial. Standardized frameworks and reporting tools can help track and communicate the social and environmental outcomes of investments more effectively. Mobilizing capital at scale will also require expanding blended finance solutions and risk-sharing mechanisms. Instruments such as guarantees, insurance products, concessional finance, and first loss capital can reduce the perceived risks for private investors and attract their participation in high-impact sectors. Multilateral development banks have a critical role to play in this space by offering a credit enhancement, supporting project preparation, and co-financing alongside private capital. This can significantly increase the viability of investments in emerging markets. Public-private partnerships also present available mechanisms for infrastructure and service delivery. Strengthening the PPP framework and building the necessary technical expertise will help governance structure and manage these partnerships effectively. Finally, global partnerships and knowledge-sharing networks should be leveraged to facilitate the transfer of skills, innovation, and best practices across borders, ensuring that countries, particularly the developing ones, can build the foundations for sustainable investment ecosystems. Creating an enabling environment for sustainable development investing is not one-day effort. It requires sustained political will, institutional reform, capacity building, and financial innovation. When these elements align, they unlock significant opportunities to scale up private sector investments in areas that drive inclusive, resilient, and low carbon growth. The public sector, particularly development banks, international development institutions, plays a role in mobilizing private investment for development impact. One of the most effective ways they can support this is by mitigating the risks that often deter private capital from entering emerging and developing markets. Through instruments such as credit guarantees, political risk insurance, and concessional finance, public institutions can improve the risk-return profile of projects and encourage private sector participation. Acting as an anchor investor in projects or funds helps significant confidence and reduce perceived risks, which attracts private partners. Overall, by de-risking investments, improving project readiness, supporting regulatory reform, and promoting partnerships and transparency, the public sector can serve as a powerful catalyst for private capital aligned with development goals. Their role is not to replace private finance, but to create the conditions under which it can flow more confidently and contribute meaningfully to sustainable development. I thank you.